Good morning, fellow Plexers. Today we're going to help Frank discover why he has duplicate movie posters under continue watching. And there's something else going on that I noticed too that I'll talk about once we do the duplicate posters. So I recreated his Dune issue with 12 Angry Men. I started my 4K version of 12 Angry Men, and then the 1080p version popped up too. So this is really simple. If you've got two versions of the movie, you'll immediately know why. But just in case you don't, let's do this. Edit the first one, go to Info, copy and paste. I'm just hitting Control C and Control V will paste it. Paste it into a word processing document and do it for both. Highlight, Control C to copy, and then bring it to a word processing document and paste them both in and format the text so maybe a screenshot will capture it. You'll see I have two different library folders, a movie 4K and a plain movie. All my regular media goes into this library sort folder, and all my 4K movies go into this one. But everything else is identical. The folder would be the same in both of them. And then the movie is actually the same formatting. So the movie file name is just as the folder is. And then I use some versioning information. There's a Plex support document for movie versions, and you simply can use a space to separate extra information about the movie. I put my versioning information in brackets, but you'll see the 1080p is encoded with H.265. It's one channel. The audio is AAC, and on the 4K version, it's a 2160p resolution, same X.265 encoding. This one's a stereo channel, and the audio is encoded with EAC3. And I also put a marker, actually FileBot puts a marker on whether there's embedded English subtitles. So let me explain the brackets. In a TV show library, Plex added the feature that anything that's bracketed will be ignored by the TV show scanner and agent. They haven't done the same thing for a movie library, but I suspect they may someday. So I'm just heading that off at the pass to be prepared for it. But whether it uses it or not in a movie library, the versioning separation takes over, the space for this info. So it doesn't matter if the brackets are there or not, Plex is going to basically ignore that anyway. So if you don't have two copies of the same movie on your server, copy and paste this info into a screenshot, get the text enlarged so I can read it and see what might be going on. So let's talk about an option, if this is it, with two versions to fix that. So I'm in my 4K movie library, the structure of it, and I'm in the folder for 12 Angry Men, and there's a simple fix. By editing the file name to add Plex movie editions. Now this is a Plex Pass feature. So if you don't have Plex Pass, you got another reason to get one. Alright, so I'm going to do edition dash 4K. And now this will send a marker on when Plex rescans a library to add 4K below the movie name. So if I rescan my 4K library, you'll see that regular edition, the 1080p, dropped off from continue watching because Plex knew I started this movie from my 4K library. And you'll see that this little 4K marker has been added. And if I go to my main movie library and sort by edition, you'll see that I have lots of different editions of movies on my server. So if I simply sort by, let's see, the unrated one, here are all the movies that have that edition tag in their file name, and you'll see that the unrated information is added after the year below every movie. So that's the real fix, so two movies don't pop up. And most people probably have a smaller 4K library, so it makes sense just to add that little edition tag to it. I have not had luck with a couple of attempts at getting FileBot to automatically add that to all my movies in my 4K library, but it's something I continue to work on in my spare time. And you'll see that Plex is detecting credits for that movie now that we've changed its name. It's like it's a new movie. So let's go back to your issue with Dune. Let's search for it on my server. So your screenshot showed Dune Part 1. There is no movie listed at IMDb or the movie database called Dune Part 1. It's only Dune. And if we go into IMDb, I don't know if I have a shortcut. I bounce back and forth between, right now, Pop OS and this immutable Atomic Edition of Fedora with a budgie desktop. I'm trying something besides my normal elementary OS. I have a new NVMe drive arriving today to redo my elementary OS install on. So the most basic file name can be a copy and paste from either database. The year from IMDb just needs to go in parentheses, and it's already in parentheses from the movie database, which is the naming Bible I think you should use for Plex movies, because this is where all collections come from. Down at the bottom, you'll see View the Collection. And you'll see that later this month, Dune Part 2 is coming out, which is the proper name, but it ain't Dune Part 1, buddy. It just isn't. So your folders and file names probably are not set up right. And if you don't want to fix those, you can simply hit the three dots and choose Fix Match and pick the movie from the list here. But again, I think Fix Match is the wrong way to do it. Say you build your Plex server up to, 5,000 movie titles. And maybe your Plex install gets nuked, but all your data survives. Well, if over the years, if you fix match movies like this, as you add them, it's not a big deal because it's really quick and easy, right? It's like a crutch. It's like a bad crutch. Well, if you have to rebuild your server from scratch, maybe your database got wiped out, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with your media. Well, I tell you, buddy, when you add 6,000 movies to a new Plex movie library, and 20% of those are names that won't match properly or easily and need to be fix matched, some of those are going to match as duplicate movies that don't exist. Some of those are going to match as the wrong movie that you don't have in your library. And you won't simply be able to go to movies and recently added to see the last movie added, because all 6,000 movies or 5,000 movies will be on that list. You won't know what's wrong, and you will create such a huge headache. And it's just easier to slowly go through your file names and get everything straight, just in case catastrophe hit you. So that's what else I saw. You don't have Dune properly named anyway, which again makes me interested in seeing the edit for each of them. I'm kind of interested in seeing this info, even if you have two versions of the movie on your server. I'd like to see how you're naming files and how you're naming your folder structure, because it ain't right. But that's sometimes a hard discussion with people.
So Frank, thanks for watching, and hopefully this will help more people, especially if you don't want to have your 4K or your 1080p version of the same movie both show up and continue watching. The the addition tag in the name is a great option.